Hey everyone, my name is Annie Cooper with the Annie Tunes In podcast, and we are about to sit down with Nick Symmonds, two-time Olympic track and field middle distance athlete. He has a successful YouTube channel and has built a large company called Rungum. Hey everyone, welcome to the Annie Tunes In podcast. I'm here with Nick Symmonds, two-time Olympian track and field athlete, built a successful business, Rungum, and has an awesome YouTube channel. So how's it going, Nick?
Good. I think you covered all the bases there. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of start from the beginning and share your story and your journey, starting with running and your journey with that for the people that don't know. So give us a little backstory on that.
I loved playing sports when I was a kid. I played a sport every single season, sometimes two. And I always dreamed of being a pro soccer player, pro hockey player, but I was really small for my age. And so in high school, instead of, going out for the junior varsity teams, one of the coaches suggested I go out for cross country. He's like, you're small and you'll get bigger, but right now, while you're so small, you should go just run away from people. And so that's what I did. I went to run cross country and ended up winning a state title in Idaho. Actually, ended up winning 9 state titles over the course of my high school career. Came out to Oregon to run in college. And then I got picked up by Nike in 2006 to run professionally. And I ran as a professional runner for 12 years, made 2 Olympic teams. And in 2017, at the age of 33, I officially retired. And if you follow my YouTube channel, I still love fitness. I work out every single day. I get to have more fun with it now that I'm not, following the numbers that the coach writes for me on, in running. I get to lift some days and bike some days and swim, and I do a little bit of everything. But I always say fitness is the glue that holds my life together. If I don't get my workout in each day, I don't think as clearly. I don't have as much energy. I don't feel as good. I work out 7 days a week because of it.
So going back from a college to a pro athlete, how did that change? How did your training change going from collegiate to a pro level?
I would say the training wasn't radically different. The ancillary stuff was so much better. Now all of a sudden I'm eating very well because I have time to prepare the meals myself. I'm sleeping so much better because I'm not staying up late with my friends, and I'm certainly not, partying a lot. Like, I had a very hard and fast rule that I will not wake up to an alarm clock, and as a pro athlete, that was weird for a 23-year-old kid. I'd go to bed at like 8 or 9 o'clock as a 23-year-old kid, and I'd sleep 10 to 12 hours a night because I knew that's what my body needed to regenerate for the next workout. So the actual running, my mileage didn't change a ton. The workouts were a little bit tougher, and I added a lot of ancillary stuff like more lifting and more swimming. But it was really more a lifestyle change. Now instead of having to be at class for 5 to 8 hours a day, I'd work out in the mornings and I just go take a nap every afternoon. So it was a really good lifestyle.
Naps are so helpful. And I'm glad that you kept going, because a lot of people after college, they don't know what to do next, and a lot of them don't choose to be a pro athlete, and they don't have the ability to. So what made you want to?
Yeah, it's a great question, especially in track and field, where even if you're one of the top 10 in the United States, you may still not have the funding to be able to pursue it professionally. So I think I always, when I talk to young kids about, professional athletics, especially if it's in a niche sport like track and field, I say, you've got to figure out the money. If you can't figure out how to pay for it, then what you have is a very expensive hobby. And I remember coming out my senior year of college, I said, well, I'm about to join the real world, leave the nest that is this university. And I either need to focus on my studies and go on to medical school, which was what I was really studying for, or I need to focus on being a pro athlete, live the lifestyle, and try to get a contract. And so my senior year, I really kind of changed my priorities in my mind from school's my number 1 priority, running's my number 2 priority. I flipped those. And my grades suffered because of it, but I also ended up running a time that put me number 2 in the United States, and I got a pro contract out of it. So I wouldn't recommend that everybody do that. I just knew that I had one shot at figuring out how I was going to pay for the very expensive process that is training for an Olympic Games. And I said, I'm going all in right now on trying to get a contract. And it worked out for me. But, it could have just as easily blown up in my face, and I would have had to retake a lot of my classes. But I think at 22, if you're not going to take chances, then when are you going to take chances?
I completely agree. So being at that pro level with, these sponsors like Nike, and I think you're with Brooks as well. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how did you feel performing? Did you feel like you had to perform at a certain level to kind of, be behind those brands? Yeah,
that's a great question. And in the case of Nike, I actually had to perform to a certain level or I would lose my contract. Right? They have what are called reduction clauses in their contracts. If you don't do this well at this meet or run this many times or run this time, you will lose your contract or get reduced. Brooks didn't have those, so that was really nice. But there's a lot of pressure. You know, when you go from running for yourself or running for your school, and now you're running for these brands, and you have athlete manager, coaches, marketing directors, kind of like, hey, we really need you to perform. There's a ton of pressure. And I think some athletes, they don't do well under that pressure. I was always kind of athlete, like the more pressure, the better I ran. So I needed to feel that pressure. And once I turned pro and knew that the difference between me putting food on my table and making my mortgage payment or having to go do something else, like I just thrived under that pressure. It got me out of bed every single morning. I never skipped a workout. I never skipped a lift. I ate better. I slept better. I just felt that I needed to rise to the occasion. And then that's what I did.
And that's what allowed you to succeed in the end more than most people.
Well, yeah, I think you have to make the conscious decision. Like I can't, there's 7 billion, 8 billion people on this planet. And if I'm not doing every single thing I can to be the best athlete possible, I guarantee someone else out there is. So I said, hey, I may not be the most talented, but I'll be surprised if you can find somebody that works harder than me.
So when you're running, because a lot of people, even for me, I always got pushed by the person in the front. I wanted to catch them, and that's what motivated me at practice, was being that person in the front and catching that person. Do you feel like you were more self-motivated, or did you have people on your team that you kind of wanted to get in front of and get to that top spot? Or
that's a great question, yeah. When we started this Oregon team out here, it's called the Oregon Track Club Elite, we had about 30 runners, and I definitely wanted to be the best. Like I figured if I can't be the best on my team, how am I going to be the best in the United States, or how am I going to be the best in the world? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I would say there was a little bit of, jockeying for position and trying to be the best. One thing I was really good at is I knew that being the best didn't mean being the best on a random Tuesday in the fall. It meant being the best on the day that the championship race was won. And I've always really understood periodizing one's training. And so, I'd let the practice winners go on a Tuesday or a Thursday in the fall. But when it got game time in May and June, that's when we have our championship races in track and field. That's when I was on, and that's when I would bleed to make sure I was number one, and a lot of guys and girls for that matter, they will burn themselves out early in the season. And especially in track and field, which is just so grueling on the body, you really have to view it as an entire year and really periodize your training.
When you started, because you ran the 800 and that was your only event, is that right?
I dabbled in the mile, but yeah, I'm a one-trick pony. I made my money in the 8.
Yeah. So when you started as a pro athlete, how did your times change from a pro athlete to when you retired at 33?
Oh, pretty significantly. I left college with a personal best in the 800 of 145.8, mm-hmm. which is good, but not great. And I ended up retiring with a personal best of 142.9. I ran that in the Olympic final. And that is the 4th fastest time ever run by an American. So, the amazing thing is just, you're saying, well, that's only 3 seconds. It's not even 3 seconds of difference. In the 800, a second is an eternity, right, at that level. We would train all year round, 360 some days a year, to shave off 1/10 of a second. Like if you can even have a personal best from one year to the next, it's a huge, huge accomplishment. So, you're really playing a game of tiny fractions of a second. And so I was really proud of that. In the mile, I think I went from let me do this in my head. I was like a 4:02 miler when I graduated, and I ended up running a 3:52 equivalent. So almost 10 seconds off. And
that's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference. And not only that, 3:52 sounds really fast as a miler, and it is, but that doesn't even make me a world-class miler these days. Like the world-class milers are all sub 350. Okay, it makes me world-class. But I couldn't do it super consistently. If you can run 3:52 really consistently, you'd be world-class. But there are people running sub 4 miles that are not pro athletes. They're collegians. There was a case, was a couple years back, where a sub 4 miler was left out of the NCAA final. Like that's how fast. Yes, that's how fast people become.
It's amazing now, even to look at high school runners, high school athletes. Yeah. They are insanely fast. I don't know what happened. I guess
there's a sub 4 high schooler almost every year now. It's crazy.
It's insane. I ran the 800 as well, and I look at my time that I ran, and I'm like, that would probably have not gotten me anywhere now. So,
it's just changed. The game's changed so much. I always, think back to when I was in high school, and the times I was running, no coach would take a look at today. But the game's changed, the shoes have changed, the track's changed, and more than anything, the internet has become so advanced that kids can see what other kids are doing. I didn't really have that when I was in high school. I couldn't tell what kind of times other kids were running to know that my times were slow and I needed to train harder. I think there's this arms race now.
I agree. And as a pro athlete, what did your day-to-day look like? Because I know some people don't understand fully what it actually takes to be at the pro level, to go to the Olympics, all these types of things. How was your day-to-day?
It's very boring. I mean, unless you just love to work out and nap, and I do love those two things, but I think the average person would find it pretty monotonous and boring. I train 7 days a week. My Saturday, well, not my Saturdays, but most days look the exact same, right? Like we did go out one night a week. Usually Saturdays we'd go and blow off some steam, but I trained 7 days a week. Most days I trained twice a day. So let's take a random weekday. I'd be up, probably 7 or 8, have some coffee, a little breakfast, stretch out. Then I'd go to practice from like 9 to 11 or 9 to noon. Those morning sessions would be anywhere from 6 to 10 miles of running, usually some lifting, more stretching. I'd eat a huge lunch. So one of the hard parts about training that hard twice a day is I really only had like 2 opportunities to get a ton of calories in me. So I ate a massive lunch, then slept for a couple hours, worked out again in the afternoon, then ate a massive dinner. And I think I learned to really love the lifestyle later on when I saw my buddies, from high school who were all in their careers and kind of like frustrated with their 9 to 5 or frustrated with their commutes. And the biggest frustration I had was that I couldn't go out and party as much as I wanted to. I was a little bit resentful at like 22 or 23 that I couldn't have that carefree, experience, but it ended up being good for me. I probably would have, goofed around too much. And so having the accountability as an athlete, knowing I have this hard session tomorrow and I'm looking to my left and right at guys that want to take my spot. I have to go to bed early. I have to eat healthy. I have to sleep right, or I will not, I will not be the best and I won't get paid and I won't have the career that I always wanted to have.
That's the thing. It's hard because you have to sacrifice a lot of things. And when you're young and all of your friends, everyone your age is partying and being young, it's hard to kind of, pick and choose. But what you said about going all in, you have to decide, am I going to do this or am I not? Is the partying worth it? I
do a lot of like motivational speaking. And when I do, I always come back to this idea of all in. Mm-hmm. And I think people hear it. They're like, oh, all in. Yeah. Like you're really focused. No, not really focused. You are all in. Every single conscious minute and unconscious minute, even when you're sleeping, everything that you're doing is devoted to one single purpose. Very few people, pro athletes get it because most of them have done that, but very few people understand the power of being all in. It's almost impossible to fail if you have that mentality. If every single choice you make during the day for days and weeks and months and years is directing you towards one single point, one single metric of success, you're probably going to be successful. But it takes a very strange personality to want to do that or to get excited about doing that or to completely clear the schedule. I missed so many incredible events with my family vacations. I missed birthdays. I don't regret it because I made a conscious decision to go towards a different path. But you will have to make that decision if you want to go truly all in on something to see how great you can be at one thing. It's not for everybody. I don't necessarily recommend that anyone do it. There's a lot of unhealthy things about living that lifestyle, but the people that you see making Olympic teams, there's a really good chance that they're all in on their sport, that they're all in on what they're doing and trying to be the best in the world.
Yeah. And I feel like seeing yourself progress and seeing the times go down and you getting faster probably motivated the hell out of you and wanted you to, kept you going.
100%. Anytime you start to see momentum, I'm no longer a professional runner and I'm trying to build some muscle up, because I was a skinny runner.
Yeah, muscle.
I do now. I didn't always. and so, when you start to put weight on, and I remember when the scale finally started to tick up, I'm like, oh my God, it's working. Or similarly, when you're trying to lose weight and you're weighing yourself each day and it's not going anywhere and you're getting frustrated. And then all of a sudden it slowly starts to drop. That's that snowball starting to roll downhill, starting to build momentum. And you nailed it on the head. Have little tiny goals, little tiny KPIs or key performance indicators that give you that dopamine release in your brain that's like, oh my gosh, what I'm doing is working. I should keep doing this. And then you just kind of keep hopscotching from KPI to KPI until you've achieved your big audacious goal.
That's a great way to explain it. And you took that momentum for your company, Run Gum. Did you start that while you were a pro athlete?
Yeah, one of the best decisions I ever made was to start my own company while I was still running. And a lot of athletes, they don't, I talk about that single-minded focus, right? Like you don't want distractions. Well, at the end of my career, I kind of recognized that this lottery ticket that was my legs was going to, give out on me at some point. And I was smart enough to start a business with my coach, which gave me something to focus on when I retired and gave me a source of income when I retired. So that's where I may have strayed a little bit from my own advice of be single-minded and focused. But I knew at that point I'd reached the peak of my career. And on the back side of that curve, I needed to have an escape plan. And so it did absolutely took some out of me. I probably ran a little slower in the last couple of years of my career as I could have if I'd been all in. But I knew I needed to start making that transition. And so we started Run Gum in 2014. Kind of towards the end of my career. And I'm glad I did. We went direct to consumer. So you can go to rungum.com. You've always been able to go to rungum.com and buy our product, but we started building out our wholesale model or working with big retailers when I retired. So now we're nationwide in REI, Vitamin Shop, Target, nationwide in Walmart. And that's all I do now is make YouTube videos and sell gum. And I love my life. Like I just absolutely love my job. I love my 9-to-5 here. I love my team. And I feel so glad that I invested in myself and my future, way back when I could have just kicked my feet up and called it a day. I said, I know I need to have something to focus on when I retire.
How did you get the idea for Run Gum?
Well, when you make an Olympic team, all these companies start sending you their product, and the energy drink companies kept sending me their energy drinks. And so I sit there and drink these energy drinks, and I fell in love with them. I absolutely love one in particular. I won't name it. But I just loved the energy that it gave me, the focus, but I hated having it sloshing around in my stomach. So any athlete out there knows you don't want to drink some big, sugary, acidic liquid right before you work out. And I had studied biochemistry in college. I knew that the stimulants in the energy drink could be absorbed sublingually. So the way if anyone has ever dipped tobacco, you know that you can absorb things through the lining of your gums. Sublingual and buccal absorption is very quick and very efficient. And so we just needed to figure out a way to get those stimulants to the lining of your mouth. We looked at tinctures and lozenges, and then we realized that functional chewing gum as a category is just exploding worldwide. You may be most familiar with Nicorette, which is a functional chewing gum delivering nicotine to the system. We use chewing gum to deliver caffeine, taurine, and B vitamin into the body. And so we found a manufacturer that could make it to my specs and packaged it, called it Run Gum, started selling it to runners, and then it just exploded from there.
How much caffeine is in one piece of gum?
In one piece, you have 50 milligrams, which is about equivalent to a cup of coffee. We put 2 pieces in a little packet, in a single serving packet. And so that's 100 milligrams, which is very similar to an energy drink. And it's a little different because, when you're drinking something, it's going to just go to your stomach and you kind of wait around for that slow absorption. Yeah. Whereas when you chew Run Gum, it hits you very fast. So, we always encourage people to start out with 1 piece. If you feel comfortable, try 2 pieces. And if you still need a bigger boost, we do have an extra strength product, extra strength spearmint.
You do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Be careful with that one. That's 200 milligrams of caffeine. 200 milligrams.
What's funny is when I go to the gas station and I look at energy drinks, I'm like, okay, I need at least like 100 to 150 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you even know that, like most people don't know how many milligrams per kilo they should take or what is a standard dose. The FDA, I think they identify a standard dose of caffeine for the average human as 100 milligrams. And so that's why we put our Run Gum Original, pegged it right at 100. But everyone's different, and you really have to find what works for you. My wife is very petite and sensitive to caffeine, so she has just 1 piece of bubble gum. It's her favorite. Oh. And again, like I am not sensitive to caffeine. I'm addicted to it. I love it. And so I'll chew 2 pieces of extra strength, and I will just crush a workout or a run. But, I use it as a very functional drug. So I'm not chewing 5 or 6 packets a day. I save 1 packet for the time I need it most during the day. That could be a workout, or sometimes like I'll have lunch and I'm just so sleepy after lunch, but I know I have a really long day of work in the afternoon. So I'll chew a packet of Run Gum like at 1 or 2 p.m. and I'll just crush my afternoon. And I just, I absolutely love caffeine. It is a drug. It is a wonderfully functional drug if you use it right and don't abuse it. And so I think that's really the way to view it. I view Run Gum as that little boost in your back pocket. It's there for when you need it most, but be careful with it. Use it correctly.
Well, I love the product, and I love that you started it with your coach. That's very,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a great story also, because I don't know anyone who's done that. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that you
the last time a couple of Oregon boys and their coach started a business, it was Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman, and that's how Nike was founded in the same town.
so cool.
Nike was founded in
Really?
Eugene, and so was
Oh,
Run Gum.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
What is that picture in the back that you have? The one,
Which
yeah,
one?
the one
Right.
on your, yes, yes.
This is one my mom put together for me. Actually, it's my bib from the London Olympic Games.
Awesome.
So you know when you're competing in track and field, you have bibs. And
Yes.
so it says my name right on it, and then it says London 2012, and then she took a picture from a professional photo from the games and just put it together. So this is my little YouTubing studio here.
Yeah, I was looking at the YouTube plaque over there. I was going to ask you about that. That's actually how I found you.
Okay.
Your video ideas, which I wanted to ask you about, are awesome. You raise people
Thank
for
you.
money. That you get these groups together with your subscribers. How did you come up with that idea for YouTube?
So I wish I could take credit for it. My COO here at Run Gum, he's a big YouTube, just loves to consume content on the platform. And I always thought it was just for like silly cat videos. Like I wasn't a consumer of content on YouTube until I started a channel. And he's like, dude, you have to get on YouTube. It's just, you like speaking on camera. You have this fan base. Like, you need to be on YouTube. And I was like, it sounds like a lot of work. And then in 2017, I finally said, okay, let's do this. And it kind of like trickled along. And, we were picking up maybe 100 subscribers a week here or there. And then I was like, I just don't know how to shoot or edit video. Like, I have all these great ideas for videos, but I don't know even how to, I would shoot them or edit them.
Yeah.
And that's when we hired a videographer. And then everything changed. Like, we went from picking up 100 subscribers a day to picking up 1,000 subscribers a day. And
That's
we
amazing.
went, when we hired Ryan, our videographer, I had 18,000 subs, and today I have 247,000. And that's in 1 year. That's the growth we achieved in 1 year. So it just goes to show you,
Amazing.
I'm a businessman first, and I'll tell people, the best founders, the best business people, they're not good at everything. But they have one really good skill, that's identifying where they're not good and then hiring that person. So I am horrible at like 9 out of 10 jobs around this warehouse, but I hired 9 people to be really great at the 10 things that I'm bad at. So it's just it's a wonderful machine we've built here. We've got really incredible talent, great people. I love my coworkers. And YouTube for me is just, it's something that I do because it's very helpful for Run Gum. It's actually our #1 driver of traffic for rungum.com. But it is also something that I would do just for free. If I didn't make any money on it, if we didn't drive any traffic, it was just something that was there, I would do it every single week for the rest of my life because I just love creating content. And I think you'll notice that the most successful YouTubers are those kind of people. They need to have that interaction with the fan base. They need to create, and everything else is ancillary to them. And that's how I really view it. You talk about those ideas, like I'll be lying in bed at night and an idea will pop in my head. I'll be like, oh my God, that would be so much fun to shoot. I know, like we did. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I have to make this video. I'll write it down and it'll just sit there burning a hole in my brain until we make it. And I always say this, we try to make the best video we can make each week. And some weeks they're not that good, but maybe we were just slammed that week and it was the best one that we could make. But as the channel's grown, it seems that what we're doing, which I call fun with fitness, it's really resonating with a lot of people. I think there's a lot of really hardcore fitness enthusiasts out there that are like, oh, you have to, take it this way. And like, kind of like I was just saying, you have to be all in. Well, I'm just talking about elite athletes. The average person doesn't need to have that mindset. The average person should probably have a mindset that I have right now, which is fitness should be fun. And I'm not going to make an Olympic team with that mindset, but dang it, I freaking love working out because I have so much fun with the workouts that we're doing.
That's what makes it maintainable for the long term, though. If it's too hard and too rigid, it's just you're going to quit. You're not going to want to keep going. Yeah,
and a lot of people are like, well, why don't you train, to make a team in the triathlon or the 1500 or I'm like, I've already done that. Like, I know what it takes, and I'm not willing to make those sacrifices anymore. And very few people are willing to make those kind of sacrifices for, decades at a time. Those are the athletes that really impress me, the athletes that are able to be at the highest level for many, many years. I was able to do it, at a really high level for about 10 years. But the thought of it was a long time, but I'm burnt out from it. The thought of trying to make those sacrifices and live that lifestyle at that level, I couldn't do it. So for me, everything moving forward, it's fun with fitness. If that sounds interesting, check out my YouTube channel. I've got funny ideas like race me for $100 or, you know, I'm trying to think of some of our better ones.
Well, you have some group races, which are awesome.
Yeah.
How do you get together?
You know, I felt so bad for all these kids. All their track seasons got canceled. Their cross country seasons got canceled. And especially here in Lane County, back in June, we had like 0 cases of COVID. And I'm like, listen, I know there's some hard hit areas, but like New York City is not Eugene, Oregon. And if we don't have any COVID here, like we're going to go out and run together. And so I put on a couple little, you know, get together races with the kids around here. We did a 100, a 400, a mile, and a 5K. And you should have seen these kids. They were so appreciative. They were so happy to just be out running. And I felt like, you know, it was nice to be able to give back to the community. And those videos did great. I think there was
awesome.
like, they all got like at least 250,000 views or more. One of them I think is going to hit 1 million views here pretty quick. I think that people are desperate for some escape from the, you know, the stress that is 2020. And that's what I intend to provide in you know, 5 to 15 minutes every Friday when I drop these videos. This is a chance to just watch something fun, know that the world's going to go back to normal very soon, and just kind of like escape for a little bit.
Yeah, and I love the idea. I think YouTube for a lot of people is an outlet, especially right now. You're consuming that type of content. You want it to be, you know, uplifting, and it's fun for you to watch, but it's fun for the people that are racing with you, and it gives them a chance to train for something. And I think that's awesome. So I think it's a good idea. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, so we kind of like tossed it over like, will people watch this? Like, it's going to be kind of a lot of work. And I put up prize money for every race. So I'm like, well, it's going to cost me a little bit. Will I make that back? It was so much fun. Like now we're trying to think about 2021. I'm like, we should do like a 10 race series and just have kids from all over the country come out to Tracktown USA and race. And, you know, provided that the world looks a little bit different in a year, I think that's something that we'll probably do.
Hey, I would come out. Let me know. I'll totally
come join us. You're going to run the 800 with us.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be so much fun. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I really appreciate you chatting with me. And then where can they find you on your social media?
I'm on all channels at Nick Symmonds, Symmonds with a Y. And I'm most active on Instagram and YouTube. Those are my favorite platforms, but I'm on Twitter and Facebook as well. And if you guys are ever in Eugene, come check us out at Run Gum HQ. You can find the product on store shelves nationwide at Target and Walmart in the sporting goods aisle.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nick.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys, great interview with Nick Symmonds. I will put the Spotify link below if you want to listen and check it out. And I'll see you guys next time.